Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Footie Express Show. Now, tonight's show is all about the Arsenal Football Club, the beloved club that we loved all those years. But tonight, we're going to discuss our former manager, Arsene Wenger. There is one Arsene Wenger, Ashraf. You know that.
Definitely.
Where's that T-shirt? I was hoping that you're going to wear that T-shirt.
No, man,
kit.
I lost that T-shirt in Singapore. A wild night in Singapore 2 years ago. But the T-shirt lives on in our memory. Wolfie will remember it very fondly. I think the first time.
We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there, though.
A bungalow special.
Now I have to edit the show tonight. I have to edit the show tonight for that one. Anyway, viewers. Yeah. But tonight, viewers, I want to welcome Bevan. Bevan, welcome tonight on the show. I want to welcome Morgan Morris. It's all the way from Arsenal, Cape Town show. And we also welcome back Wolfie tonight, and also Ashraf, the top gunner. Welcome, guys. Now, viewers, tonight we can ask some questions. We can discuss Wenger's almost signed players. You're going to be surprised who's going to be on the list. Feel free to ask questions about these players. And maybe, I don't know, if you look at these players, we probably have won the Champions League or even whatever trophy, but we can't say that.
Probably 5 times. Probably five times if you look at the names on the list. Because a lot of these players would have played simultaneously for Arsenal.
Yeah, no. And I'm sure.
I want to see this list.
Yeah. So before we're gonna go there, we got some news. So finally, it was revealed who was the players that were snitching, because they are making trouble at the other club which are known and also bought them. So these are the players. I want to reveal this because this is the reason why Arsenal is struggling in the beginning. There we go. Kolasinac and Mustafi lead rebellion against FC Schalke's manager. So
why?
Arsenal supporters. I'm not sure what is
ice cream. Okay, I want the wafer.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was the story. I'm not gonna go into the story, but this is all over the Arsenal news about Kolasinac Mustafi basically leading a rebellion at Schalke. And there's a whole thing that the board fired the whole management staff. I'm not sure, but the viewers, you guys can read into the story. But what I'm saying is, these are the players that what Arteta was talking about, that was snitching and causing trouble amongst players. So, look, if you look at the games that we lost, I'm not saying this is not an excuse. Okay, guys, this is not an excuse. But if you check that games we lost at 8 games, that's the time when this happened. You can even see that some players was throwing Arteta under the bus. I saw it. I told my friend Lester, this look like there's players throwing Arteta under the bus. But you can have your say now. Amma Morgan, you can go ahead. You can have your say on this story quickly.
No, I'm never sure about these stories. I know that every time I can imagine in a club when you've got a bunch of millionaires playing on the field and they disagree with the manager or the staff, something to that. But I must admit, I don't know if it's the two of them. But obviously, I don't know if the rebellion they're leading there at FC Schalke is the same reasons. But obviously, yeah, I can imagine if they were the troublemakers, it's easier than just to farm them out to another team and let become someone else's problem. Because I was surprised that they weren't playing as regularly as I thought they would. Maybe the others know more about what was happening there.
Yeah, Bevan, what do you think about this though?
I'm sorry, I don't know those players, so I don't have any comments on Kak. So
listen, all I can tell you.
What do you think about this story though?
I've never heard of those two players in my life. Those are not
Okay.
footballers, so I'm not bothered.
I don't know. Is he being sarcastic? There? Is he being sarcastic at the
Of
moment?
course he is, man.
Never heard of them. Never heard of a colonoscopy and Mufasa. I don't know what that is. What is Mufasa and colonoscopy? What does it have to do with football? Never heard of them. Sorry.
He was our shortest central defender.
Wolfie,
I'm
have
very
you seen?
upset.
Wolfie, have you seen the story?
Look, they're obviously two troublemakers, and they obviously had some mates that was helping them with this whole Arteta downfall, the Ozil situation, and so
I was waiting for that.
it was fueled by the Ozil situation, and they're all buddies, and you could hear when Ozil left, who was the two guys that said a little bit kind of biased the remarks that they had towards Arteta and Ozil. So for me, it's good riddance, and I hope that the one guy, what's his name, the tank, doesn't come back, because we don't need that at our club. Yeah, I hope,
He's on loan, eh? He's on loan.
Let's hope they do the same what they did with Mustafi's contract. Just terminate his contract.
Yeah, we can't keep terminating contracts. We have money also.
Yeah.
We got enough money.
Even if it's 10 million.
Kolasinac we got free, so we can cut our losses. He was a free signing, so.
Okay.
I know Kolasinac is a good guy to have. Kolasinac is a good guy to have around you when you're about to be hijacked.
Yeah, when you go to the obvious.
If you need someone to cross a ball, he couldn't even cross the road properly. This guy got in such wonderful positions, and his final delivery was so pathetic. I can't believe that a professional, I love the way he used to bomb up and down that flanks, but crossing a ball, it was unbelievable. But leading rebellions and attempted hijackings, he's your guy.
Yeah, no, so he's in the wrong industry because he had to be a bodyguard instead of a footballer.
Ozil's bodyguard.
Very much.
Okay, so we're gonna come to the first player. So we're gonna start from the back, right? You're gonna start from the back. I'm gonna give you guys guesses. Who do you think is the first player Wenger almost signed? He's a goalkeeper.
Buffon.
I was about to say that, yeah.
Not the gear. What's his name? What's his name? Man United's keeper, whose name I always forget to pronounce.
Currently, Man United keeper. The current one.
Yeah.
I would actually say Buffon because I believe there was a time.
Oh yeah, there was a time. I can imagine
there was
the time.
Much earlier.
Yeah, that's right.
Now it says Buffon in 2017 revealed while he's a boy club at Parma, whom he left Juve in 2001. So, but this is a quote from Buffon. I remember when I was 20 years old in 1998, I had dinner once with Wenger. That is what he said, Buffon. So I'm not sure if it was for signing him, but there was Manchester United and Arsenal was interested in him. And I'm not sure if the dinner thing was to basically sign Buffon. But what a goalkeeper he was. I mean, if we signed him, I mean, we had Seaman and Lehman. But we never actually replaced him.
We would never have signed him because his fee was like £38 million. So
he was going to
He was a record signing.
Even at that age?
It was a record signing when he left to go to
Juventus, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were never going to sign
How old is he now?
Ever.
Is he over 40? He's almost 50.
He's about 44 years old. Yeah, he's about 44 years old.
Yeah, I just thought he's 40. He's 42 or 43. 43.
Yeah, but imagine Arsenal signed him. I mean, I think this was the time when we needed a keeper. I think what's his name at Juventus now left? Was it before or after? Was before that. Imagine we signed him and I think it would have been a brilliant signing. You probably would have. I'm not sure if you've been at Arsenal still, but you would have been a brilliant signing at the back because after that we had nightmares of keepers. After Lehman, we had what's his name after.
Munir.
Yes.
And that time Fabianski used to be known as Flapianski.
Yeah, I don't know why we always want to sell. I don't know why we always want to sell keepers after they win the FA Cup. It's like an Arsenal thing.
It's like the farewell gift, I think. You help us win the FA Cup, and then we let you go.
Check.
So, what do you think the transfer fee would have been if we signed him in 2017?
Could have easily been about 30.
Was it
2001 was obviously the time.
No, 2001. Just correction. In 2001. Yeah. So, how much would have cost though?
The guy would have cost about 30 to 40 million. Yeah, about 40 million. But who said? Yes, but who says he would have made it at Arsenal? Who said he would have made it in England? I mean, he's Italian, and if we look at all the Italians, they like playing in their league. They normally leave the Italian league. Yeah. They normally leave.
We were supposed to sign Peter Cech when he was like only 18 or 19. And then we didn't get him because the people said, no, he's not going to make it in England. And then Chelsea picked him up, and the rest is history. So you can't say they're not going to make it. England is not the be-all and end-all. Like, we like to pretend like England is the greatest league in the world, but come now. It's like, it's up there, but the rest are good. It's just they've only got one or two good teams.
Look, the Premier League is the greatest league. It is by far the greatest league in the world. It's just that our officials is poor.
Now let's not go there. There's another discussion. We're not going to discuss any officials or VAR. Otherwise, it's going to be, you're going to sit again like last night. But I can't remember another Italian. Do you guys know any Italians as a keeper in the EPL? I can't remember.
Was that Tayibi that played for Man United? After one game, they chased him back to where he came from.
Oh, that's a guy who let the ball go
yeah.
No, that's a guy.
You see, Bevan, I told you Italians doesn't make it in England.
Really? Italians don't want to come to England.
After one game.
What about a barrel?
I think England are just too cold and too little pasta for them. There's no
Italian mafias in England, man. That's why.
Yeah, Balotelli made it in England.
Yeah. Look, we're gonna go to the defense.
Paulo Di Canio.
Guys, guess. Who's your guess, Wolfie? A defender.
Come again?
Guess the player who's next as a defender.
I will go for Lilian Thuram.
Only one player, Bevan. Company. Okay. Morgan.
I'm just trying to think of defenders. Depends how far back we're going. Is it recently?
Is
it like 10 years or more ago? Well, Wenger era went on for a bit.
But look, let's say about he was interested in a lot of players, but there was top players that he was interested in. I'm talking about top players. I'm not talking about a Diaby or that kind of players.
I'm going to pass on this one. I want to see. I'm going to pass on this one.
Ashraf.
Is it another Italian?
Come on, we can't give clues.
I'll go with,
give us a nationality. Yes. Give us some clues.
Company, but at the time, Company was a defensive midfielder, as I recall.
Yeah. Look, we're gonna come. Next Company is in that list. See that you guess that one right. But Ferrari, apparently Manchester United are interested in signing him next season. But we were Yeah, we were interested in him. Our Wenger's quote was, "He was at launch, and we might have well caught him there." I'm not sure what that means. So what Wenger's quote there, but Wenger's always a person with these quotes and all that. But I can remember that we were interested in Ferrari, but it never happened with all these players. Some of these players that is on this list were very, very, very close. But this was one of the players. What do you guys think of him? Do you think he would have? I think he was still young that time, though.
He was
At that
very
time,
young. Yeah.
18 years old.
But do you think he would have improved our defense? Because that was a problem that we have for so long, and we're still trying to fix it, and we're only getting it basically right now. I think about 70% of our defense is getting there. But do you think at that time you would have been a player to basically fix our defense?
Who was our defense? Who was our centre back at the time? Pascal Segon. And
No, this guy is not. I think, you know what? You would have obviously played with Lauren Koscielny.
probably, yeah.
Probably, yeah. You would have fit well.
Don't go there with Segan and
11 Arsenal was
Schillaci.
Mertesacker, those kind of guys.
Yeah.
I'm just.
yeah,
But
don't
what
go to
at what
Schillaci and
time?
that
At what
guys.
time was the interest shown? At what time? Are you saying that the interest was shown early in his career? Or
in
was it like
2010.
2010. Okay.
was 18 years old. He would not have started, man.
No, I don't think
But
he
the
would have
second was
started.
still playing. Vermaelen was playing. Koscielny was
Koscielny
playing.
was in his prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would
But
have
remember,
started. Would have been
Mertesacker
a young up and comer.
Mertesacker was still there. I've always liked the
Mertesacker was signed
Mertesacker.
in 2011
Okay,
after we
okay.
lost
So
to Manchester United 8-2. That was 2011.
No, wait, he
so
was there. Wasn't Mertesacker in that game?
No, we signed him the day after. We
No.
signed 5 players: Mertesacker, Arteta. And that was because the day after we lost 8-2, it was the deadline closed, the window closed. So we signed Arteta, Mertesacker, and another 3 players.
You know who was in the defense in that 8-2? Grimondi
Yeah.
Yes,
And Stepanov.
and
Stepanov.
that young French lady, not Traore.
You guys remember Stepanov?
Sure,
I
Igor.
want to, but
Igor
if you're
Stepanov.
going to force me. If you're going to force me to, then I'm going to remember him, but I don't want to. Yo,
Let's
that's
go
not
to the
some
next player. Another player.
Yeah,
Sure.
that was what
PK.
The
Yeah, I
Spanish
know.
players. The Spanish players have a weird relationship with. Oh, sorry, I just want to check here. Unless there was another 8-2, I remember Mertesacker in that game. I clearly remember because he was very upset
Nah.
when some of the people were giving up, and he was
Uh-uh.
screaming at them. Kind of, because
be
I see the
Mertesacker.
8-2.
I think
The
that was
8-2
a
was
6-2 Liverpool. I've
Yeah,
got
that was
the
it.
lineup.
Yeah.
The lineup for the
Yeah.
8-2 was
Yeah,
Jenkinson,
that is the good
Juru, Koscielny,
Why would you
Traore.
Are we talking about
Okay.
2011? I'm just.
I say, come on.
Yes.
Yeah, look
Jenkinson,
here.
Juru, Koscielny, Traore.
Yes.
Okay. I clearly have my sides mixed up. No, you're quite right.
Look,
My
guys.
apologies.
PK was signed. This was before he went to United. Okay. Arsenal was interested in Fabregas, Messi, and PK, but they only signed Fabregas. That was when Fabregas was still 16. So this was before he went to United. And I think 2 years after that, United signed him. But it didn't work out for him at United, so he went back to Barcelona. And obviously now
years at United. Shadowing Johnny Evans.
And where's Evans now? Evans is
What a
where's
job.
Evans now?
Evans is
Evans
a
is
Leicester.
I'm
Isn't it?
fascinated when players with his kind of mentality don't work out with Man United. whatever, and I have many complaints about Man United, but what's his name? But Ferguson was good at kind of getting players, into sort of that mind-winning mentality, that game-winning mentality. So I'm surprised that someone like PK, who seemed, who fits in sort of more in the Ferguson mindset than maybe Wenger's, that it didn't work out there either. Which is it's not like they had, like Man United, they had those stellar defenders in place. So I think the Spanish players, well, some succeed obviously, but maybe for others it's not as easy. I would like to know why he left Man United. Why did he leave Man United?
Look,
the regular game time.
What I heard is that he obviously had family in Spain, and he wanted to go back. And obviously, when interest came from Barcelona and with Messi there, I mean, with Fabregas, his heart was always back in at the Nou Camp. And with a lot of these players that came from Barcelona, they tend to go back.
And he was quite young at this stage, so that's been difficult. Moving from one country to another when you don't have the family and support structures in place. So maybe I don't know if London would have been any better than Man City, although I've heard players say that they prefer the London. I mean, Man United, they prefer the London culture to the Man United culture, but I'm not sure if it's quite the warm weather and the late meals that the Spanish are known for.
And now he's married to Shakira. So it worked out nicely for you. They got 2 kids.
They got married,
Oh, yes.
And interesting fact, their birthdays on the same day.
Oh my
Just
God.
as a side note.
Ashraf, that is you only get that kind of information from reading Huisgenoot, because I can't imagine. Are they the same age as well? Then were they born the same day?
Shakira's 10 years older than him, eh?
Yeah, she's older than him.
So Bevan, what do you think about this player, Bevan?
This man was immaculate, bro. Even when he was in Belgium, then everybody was like all after him. If you've played Fantasy Manager Nanas, then you'll know that everybody in that time was very Vincent Kompany for Skrik. Like everybody was after him because he was like just brilliant. But he wanted regular game time, and he knew he wasn't going to get it going anywhere else. And that is why I think one other his agent said that he was the kind of person that wanted personal attention and all that. He didn't want to be around big stars per se and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Did he go to Man City in their kind of development stage when they were just becoming a force?
Yeah.
He went to
2008? Yeah, they signed him in 2008. Mark Hughes.
Okay. So I can imagine back then it wasn't like he was competing for. We wouldn't have competed for a place in the Man City team or anything like that.
Not at all.
So my question is, we have all these players that Wenger was interested in. Okay, we only showed about 4. But why did we always sign these guys, Stepanovs, Grimondis, and it was all awful defenders. I mean,
just to come in there, Nigel. Remember,
Grimondi was actually a good. He was a good. Grimondi was actually a defender.
Yeah, he's a central midfield, defensive.
He was a butcher. Yes, that's right, a butcher.
Yeah. And also look at the era that you are pointing out when these players, it's all around 2006, 2008, 2010. Remember, we moved to the Emirates, so a lot of these players' salaries and budgets were not in. So it was easier to sign a Schillaci, it was easy to sign a Traore, it was easier to sign a Stepanovs. You know what I mean? They thought that they would work out, but I mean, you get what you pay for. I mean, I would have rather signed one company and then Giroud and Stepanov and freaking Traore and Skilla. You know what I'm trying to say? So we were operating on a budget, and I don't think that we were too very convincing. I mean, Man City came in that time with oil money. I mean, it's a no-brainer for company. Like at that time, when a lot of these players were touted to come to us or almost came to us, it was in a era that we were financially not great. I mean, what big name signings did we sign at that period? You know what I mean?
But it also sounds like it's like Wenger and Ferguson signed from the same basket. They were always looking at the same basket of players because these are all players that they either had or both were interested in. And I'm surprised that even Man United couldn't sign them because Ferguson wasn't quite a much bigger spender than Wenger, though he was willing to spend more. But I am surprised that he would not have,
Is that guy, the player that we signed from United, Silvestri?
Hey man.
Yeah.
Absolutely rubbish. Absolutely rubbish.
Morgan
William Gallas.
Bevan raak kwaad vir
William Gallas.
Bevan is blocking players out of his mind. If they didn't play for us, he doesn't.
I don't want to hear
Morgan, getting back to what you said about Alex Ferguson. What Alex Ferguson was good at, he was good at signing established English players. Like, I mean, he signed like your Ashley Youngs, your Valencias, your Teddy Sheringham's, your Carricks, guys with EPL clout, with EPL strength, you know what I mean? Where we weren't good at that. He could attract good English talent that fitted into the team or that could do a job. I mean, what English player?
But I want to say that I think that Man City and Real Madrid and Barcelona at the time were also just spending a lot bigger than either Man United or Arsenal were spending.
Yeah.
So obviously they offered salaries that were a little bit more attractive to some of these players, especially to the young players. If you can go home and earn a lot more than you could in cold UK, I can imagine why you would want to go there. But it was just, I'm surprised that I can imagine that Ferguson would have been frothing at the mouth to get a player like Company and get him into their side. And it's weird that we were just never in the same league. We couldn't compete either for salary or for appeal in the end because then we weren't getting things.
Morgan, I just want to step in here quickly. But that's the reason why we built this Emirates Stadium. It was said that we would compete with the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United. So now we're talking about we're supposed to get this players and that players, but we couldn't. But that means was all lies. We had to sell the whole Invincibles within a season. So how can you compete and saying we're going to compete with the likes of what is just now after 30 years? It's going to take 30 years and then we're going to compete. We're still competing.
I can't imagine that Wenger ever thought of a time that once the stadium was paid off, he was going to spend tons of money on players the way the other clubs, because then the game changed so quickly. When Man City got their all money, when Barcelona started playing well, when Real Madrid, everybody went kind of global, and the money just became insane. And I can't imagine Wenger was ever going to be willing. He's always said he wouldn't compete at that level. He didn't want to compete at the level of money. I suppose maybe he thought Arsenal would stay competitive and players would come there and be attracted to being in one of the top sides of the world, which they didn't become.
Yeah, because you also got to look at ideal world, Dave. Remember, at the time, your appeal to England was Man United and Arsenal. Then Chelsea got their Roman Abramovich. Remember, the stadium was already being built. Then Man City got their sheikh money, their oil money. So I think what they were perhaps banking on were the stadium would be complete. It would still only be Arsenal and United being the big attractions in England.
Yeah.
But the fact that they came along and were able to spend this money, I mean, that derailed everything. And remember, they changed the market, they changed market value, they changed salary caps, and that, I mean, that threw us totally off the rail. Because, I mean, we had a stadium to maintain. We couldn't offer that salaries. We couldn't pay that sign-on fees. So, I mean, that has to be taken into consideration.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that happened. I mean, if Man City or Chelsea could have sent us a WhatsApp a few months in advance, we could have maybe built a smaller stadium.
We've got some guys with Russian oil money and other
Yes,
oil
yes.
money and
Look,
Saudi
we
Arabian oil
can't.
money.
It's difficult.
Get yourself a shake. Yeah.
It's difficult. We got to remember one thing. We were a club. We signed great players when Wenger came in 1996, where we got all these French players, and they all became legends. They even won the World Cup for France. We had David Dean. That he was the guy that would do all the behind the scenes work. He was the guy that got all the quality players. So he was the guy that worked with Wenger to build a new stadium. So he had a plan, and he knew that we had to, as Ashraf just said, where Chelsea's money came in, the Russians' money, and the Arabs' money came in. He knew that Arsenal needed to step up the game and also move with the times. Like Ashraf said, the salary and the wages, all those kind of things. But somehow behind the scenes, David Dean got worked out, and he wanted Usmanov. He wanted Usmanov and a lot of other investors to come on board so that we can get all these players and also maintain what Chelsea and Man City has done. And unfortunately, it just never happened. He was worked out. And since he left the club, if you look at the pattern, we just gone downhill.
David Dean, yeah, no. Let's check the next player quickly. Now, this player was, Wenger says he was a mistake. That's why we didn't sign him. He was actually almost signed with another player. But Wenger decided to go for other players and not sign this players because at that time, he didn't need, I think, a left back. We had two left backs. Because now this player, check who's this player. And I'm sure you guys are going to be surprised.
Gareth Bale.
Wenger said we didn't take as we had Ashley Cole and Gail Clinchy, and he didn't want another left back. I must confess it was
but you also,
good mistake.
Bale wasn't a great left back. So if you honestly do compare Clichy and Ashley Cole to him as a left back, as left backs, I mean, it was no-brainers if you actually think about it. I don't know how the other guys feel.
Did he start as a left back?
He played.
Yeah, I don't miss this, but as a signing, I don't miss him because he went through a lot. So what were we gonna do with him? And we weren't gonna turn him into a midfield.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know why Wenger says it was a huge mistake because Ashley Cole was one of the best left backs in the world at that time. I mean, that's another player I really is upset about leaving Arsenal, and it will still be a miss why left Arsenal for Chelsea. Some people say it's money. Some people say no.
Ashley Cole.
Yeah. It's called
Ashley Cole.
But look, we won't know the real story with what's going on. There's a lot of things spreading in the media. I mean, Van Persie story about why he left. It was all about, apparently I read Van Persie, sorry to bring him up though, with RVPs, the reason why he left was because of Kadir. Kadir was the reason why he left. And Kadir was the one who was the yellow lichtpick. Promised Van Persie this and that. So he was one of the reasons why he left, yeah. And you guys know that guy, he messed up Arsenal. I don't even want to go there. So the next player that we're going to bring up here is
it's also easy to question whether these players would have fit in eventually because it's Spurs might have been a natural fit for him. I don't know.
Yeah, now look, yes, the Ayator. Another one was at Arsenal training ground, training with the players.
He played in a
his
training
brother-
match. He actually played
Yes,
in
he
a training
was.
match against Barnet.
My visa situation why we couldn't get him
No.
there. And then he ended up going to the Ukraine, huh?
A work
Yeah, no,
permit.
he's-
Surely a work permit got in the
It
way.
was a work permit. Yeah. He
Yeah,
had an
we
agreement.
wait
Wenger says,
anymore.
Bloody
Wenger
hell.
says here, let's not forget that Torre had an agreement with us. So he was basically in the door.
Yeah.
that
And
doesn't
he would have been a
Could
good,
have been solid.
would have been a
Yeah,
solid
he was
player.
he was basically signed. He was basically signed for the club.
That
And I
is
mean,
a bit of
that-
a
I don't know.
loss.
Yeah, that time it was Gilberto. It would have been and then he would have probably partnered Fabregas because Gilberto was busy out of the door that time. Imagine Fabregas and Yaya Toure, bro.
Yeah.
We
that's
could have
also-
played anybody in defense.
I think this was a huge
Now we
fuck
got
up.
Thomas Partey.
No.
Yes, the
this
big
photo
one.
does- Surely not. Surely not. This photo doesn't belong here. I can't imagine this.
He almost signed.
Ronaldo's coming next, eh?
Remember, if we signed, if
Ronaldo's
everything
coming
went
next.
according to plan, if Messi and Ronaldo would have been at Arsenal the same time, if both signings happened, if we found a flat, apparently we couldn't find a flat for his family. But imagine,
Yeah, no, that was the reason. No, I read that. That was the reason.
No.
Man, he was never going to come, man. He didn't want to leave Barcelona, man.
Flat, or they couldn't find a flat that he particularly wanted
look.
that looked like Spain.
or maybe
Look,
he had a
Wenger
flat
says-
tire on
He
the
didn't
way
want to
there.
come, man.
Look, Wenger said that he felt more comfortable in Barcelona. That's the reason why he didn't come.
Yeah,
So,
that should have never happened.
Yeah. I
Would have
mean,
been,
Barcelona invested a lot in him from the age of 10, I think, or something. So I can't see that he would have left Barca. I mean, I
Just a
heard the
question,
rumors.
guys.
But I must just say, he looks very unhappy there at the moment. He just doesn't look like a man who.
Yeah, that's my question. Do you think he's going to be a Barcelona player at the end of the season? By
They
next
will
season?
force him to be one. They will make him
Yes.
be one.
Yeah.
He has
When-
four
What do you
goals,
think,
man.
Bevan?
When does
Well,
his
I just
contract
don't
come to
know.
an end?
Do you
I think
think,
he will
Bevan,
come-
he's going to be? For what team,
He's-
Bevan, do you think he will go to?
He will go to Barcelona. That's where he will go to. Unless you got £1 billion. You got £1 billion, you can
He's-
have him.
But City
He's
can
going-
afford it.
He's going to PSG next season, you mark my words. He's going to
He's
PSG. He's
going
going to join Neymar. He's going to
He's
join
gonna-
Neymar.
Then he
Wait,
can
wait,
come
mark
to
my
the-
words.
People, apparently his contract comes to an end this year.
Mark my
In
words.
June, his contract comes to an end. So then it's all anyone can have him for free.
But
Even
remember,
Arsenal.
Ashraf, what
His
you got?
loyalties to Barcelona is finished. He's going to PSG.
do you think Messi would have been able to outplay who was our strikers at that time? Because I think that time we just signed Marouane Chamakh, and I mean I can't see Messi taking his position. Who remembers Chamakh? I think that was 2016.
Dude,
You got it.
the hair was very different.
He started off well. He started off well against Liverpool. So yeah, I think
Yes,
when
he
we first
scored in
came
the
back, he
opening
just
game of the league.
yeah. When he
Everybody
first came
scored
back, the
against
guy just
Liverpool back
disappeared.
then.
I would love to see. I mean, in another universe, I would like to have known if a young Messi came to England at the time and played for an English cup, any English cup, how he would still have been the amazingly talented player that he is. But I would have liked to know if he'd have been as successful here as he was there. The number of goals he scored that he could score in La Liga that maybe allowed him to, that kind of. It's a different game there, they say. I would be keen to see him play for an English club next year, whether it's Man City or anyone else. I'd love to see how he does now when he's maybe not quite in his prime anymore.
Yeah, no. Next one. Oh,
No,
Ronaldo. I told you he's coming.
No.
the
You
boss
warned me,
man,
you warned me that
The
he was
legend.
going to be next.
the
And
best
Nigel-
player in the world.
Is it?
I don't care what people say. He's better than Messi. And that I don't care what people say. He won trophies all over, whatever league, in EPL, Italian league, Spanish league. He's gonna come to the PSL, probably win. Let Ajax Cape Town win the league. I don't care. He will win. He will win in any league. So apparently, Ronaldo was sitting in his office and was about to sign until Carlos Queiroz changed his mind.
I want to
They
know
were
who let
12
Carlos
million.
into the Emirates or wherever we were at the time. Who let him into the stadium at the time? No ways, man.
I think it
No,
was
he
our
was.
fault.
Watch the show.
That is-
Watch the show of Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan interviewed him. Watch that show. Piers Morgan interviewed him and he said he was about to sign for Arsenal like within a second. So he got a call from our assistant manager from Bafana, changed his mind. Assistant manager of Bafana changed his mind. And that's why he went to United.
Did he
The
say
one
what kind of
time
Jedi
the
mind
one
trick
time I
he used? What
wish-
kind of Jedi mind trick did he use to convince him? I need to understand that.
Look,
Was it
remember,
money?
Carlos Queiroz is the same country as Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I think.
Portuguese, yeah. It's
So,
a similar
I
story
think-
to the Ramsey situation when Ramsey was at United and Wenger flew him in and spoke to him and explained to him what Arsenal was about, and then he signed with Arsenal. So it's very similar. Just a pity I would have chosen Ronaldo over Ramsey.
Yeah, bro. Are you crazy?
It's a nice thing. It's a nice thing with hindsight, isn't it, Wolfie? Where we can make these
That's
judgments.
true. True.
So, what do you think if we signed Ronaldo? Say we did sign Ronaldo. What do you think Arsenal would
He
have?
probably would have only stayed there 2 years. Knowing Arsenal at the time and the type of things that we were catching on, you'd have probably been we'd have won probably one league title. You'd have been leading goal scorer for 2 years, and we'd have sold him.
Real Madrid.
That's honest.
Madrid,
Like,
yeah.
let's be honest. That is what
We
would have
cash in
happened.
on a free transfer. Well done, Arsenal.
Yeah, he would not have stayed 5 years at
En die
Arsenal.
kwaad was vir Arsenal, goed wat gebeur het. Come on.
He would not have stayed 5 years at Arsenal. 2 years, 3 years maximum. We would have probably won one extra league title.
If we won the Champions League,
No,
then
that's
yeah,
true.
I would have sold him
Yeah,
after
look,
that.
he stayed there like 2 seasons, 3 seasons at every club he was, and he left.
Yeah.
Like you said, I agree with you. I think if he signed for Arsenal, you would have probably Manchester United probably steal him anyway. That's what
Could
I
have
think.
happened. Probably.
What's that, Percy?
But from Percy, we got a question here. We're gonna come with a question. Smirnov says, "I'll never had a chance with signing CR7. Never ends." He
That's my
probably
cousin,
never
Fix
did.
your English before you talk to us.
He's a huge Cristiano
Never did.
Ronaldo supporter.
I suspect
He
Shane
probably
is a
is
Man
made never
United
did.
supporter and he's just making fun of us.
Yeah,
Listen
he's
here.
probably,
We put in,
a
we
profile
offered
says
4 million
forward.
pounds. United offered 12. End of fucking story. We lose because we don't have money. That's firmly the story of our lives. We are fucking
Is
cheap.
this-
Arsenal is cheap.
You know what?
cheap.
What now just came to mind now? The Suarez situation.
Yeah.
Exactly. Fucking
I know,
cheap. 40 million and
how
1
much-
pound.
Hey,
We
£1.
should have offered 40 million and £2.
Let me just get there.
We offered 40 million and 2 pints.
Here we go. Suarez. Another headache.
I honestly,
no.
that
Was
was a big miss.
Was this in his biting stage? Because then nobody wanted him that time.
Yeah,
No, that's why he's kissing his lips, his fingers. Sorry, he's kissing his fingers. I don't know what he's doing, but anyway.
Yeah.
But apparently he's upset. He's upset with what Bevan. What you saying?
Aye, man. Cheap, man, bro. Cheap. That is all we ever were, was cheap. We lost out on a lot of deals because of money. But like you said, we had a stadium, we had a lot of
There's the
responsibilities.
40 million in one.
I think that's a bad excuse. It's just that we were cheap in that period.
Yeah,
But he was
that
offered
scenario was just
To be honest,
Yeah.
guys, to be honest, his buyout clause was 40 million. And that's
50
why
million. It was 50 million. That's why we offered the £1.
What 40 million and one?
Yeah, but that's a stupid thing. Yeah.
Look here,
That was
I don't
smacking
care
Liverpool's
what
face.
people say, but his heart was set coming to Arsenal. I don't care what people say. His heart was set of coming to Arsenal, and apparently I read that he's upset with Gerrard and another player for not this deal. Basically, he was upset with Gerrard because this deal didn't happen. Gerrard sometimes said something to him, and
He said,
something
Gerrard
happened
told
there.
him, you can go to any other club bar Arsenal. That's what Gerrard told him.
But
For
I
real.
remember
You go to
Liverpool
Everton.
wanted 40 million. I
Yeah,
remember
he
that
was on the
clearly.
brink of signing. He was on the brink. That deal
And
was basically
suddenly-
done.
Yes.
It
And
was
suddenly
a step in
they
Liverpool's face.
increased the amount, and that's why Arsenal put the £1.
The £1 was ridiculous.
That's
It was
it.
ridiculous.
Yeah. We should have gone 41 or 45.
No, you can't change your price after you said 40 million. So I said, yeah,
because
they'll
that's
take a
your
pound.
buyout. Yeah. No,
Why
but you
didn't we
get your
just
40
go to
million. It's not like
It's
not like
disrespectful.
you get 40 million and one.
No, disrespectful. You don't go to that car dealership and then you're like, oh, okay, here's 75,001 rand. Don't try your cock here. Put in a proper offer.
If you say the car, you can have the car for 75,000, and then I give you an extra 1 rand, you should be grateful.
That's disgusting. So
Look,
disgusting.
I can already see Morgan tipping the car guards 1 rand every time. Who is this? Benny McCarthy? Is this Benny McCarthy? Who is this guy?
No, Makalele.
It looked like Benny, man.
We didn't take
No,
Claude
wait,
because you already had Patrick.
Bring Benny up. If we sign Benny, what? I mean, that would have been a brilliant sign. See that you bringing Benny up.
But we had RVP and Henri at that time.
I know, but would have been a
was
brilliant sign because Benny was one of the best strikers in the world at that time when they won the Champions League. I mean, he destroyed United in that Champions League semi-finals, I think.
Look, to be fair, Benny, I think Benny lost out on the Golden Boot by 1 goal to Didier Drogba. And and Benny's words was, Didier, you played with Lampard, I played with Robbie Savage. It's unfair. So he could easily have scored so many goals at Arsenal.
Yeah, but I think Claude Makalele would be a very, very good sign. He reminds me of Kante. I mean, they got the same style of play. Very defensive, but also a ball player. You get defensive players, but there's no brains. I'm not going to mention the guy at Arsenal.
I think we had Footie at that time.
That time we were just
we had
Vieira.
That player's name that we signed from Chelsea, defensive player.
You're
Also
talking
from-
about that, what's his name? He looks the exact same with the big head. What's his name? Yeah.
He went to Portsmouth.
Diarra,
Dude, there was talk the guy went to Afghanistan at the time of what is this? He became a Taliban guy. For real.
Now, let's not talk about that though.
I think he went to Portsmouth, then to Real Madrid.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. He was very unhappy at Arsenal because he was like in and out the squad, and he was upset with Wenger, and that's why we sold him, Diarra. But he was a good player though. I must admit, he was a good defensive player, but they missed him around. But the next player,
He invented the role called the Makalele. The role is called the Makalele. LA. He's beyond a good player. He's a fantastic player.
If you've got your own role, yeah.
Guys, listen, one of the best strikers in the world. Like, he's gonna bully United in
Zlatan.
the finals. Yeah. I can't wait for that game. I don't care how old he is. He's gonna bully.
He said he's gonna miss both legs.
No, man, don't say that, man.
He is. He's injured. He's got a thigh injury. He's not gonna make both legs.
Hey, just get ill quickly. This is Zlatan you're talking about.
This should have been a world-class signing.
Even at 16, he was already, well, you don't test me. You don't test me. Because
He says here, I didn't like being asked to prove myself. I know I'm good enough. I don't need to show it to you. Either you know who I am or don't. Zlatan, don't do auditions. That was one of the best quotes.
Any person that speaks about himself in the third person, you gotta know, yeah. No, you... Yeah.
He said this after Wenger wanted him to come for a trial. He
Yeah.
said,
he was 16,
I don't do
of
trials.
course.
And he still had a jersey. I couldn't even get that pic. He still had a jersey on with his name on it. And he was also about to sign, but he didn't like this. The way he is now, he's one of the best strikers. It's just, I think did he ever win a Ballon d'Or?
I'm still trying to, I think he just came in the wrong time, in the wrong era. He came in a time when Messi and Ronaldo existed, and he was never going to be, in his own mind, he may have been the greatest player in the world, but in other people's perception, they were better. So, I don't know.
How many Champions Leagues does he have?
I'm trying to see what is won.
We took a player that looks like him, but we took the what you call that site that you order, the version of that. Bentner.
You took it from Wish.
Bentner was world class. What are you talking about, man? Come on.
I mean, this is a player that Pep let go. Pep said, no, you may be good, but we don't want to have your attitude, and let him go after what was the season and a bit. So
one season, he won the league.
I think this is his last season. Apparently, there's a rumor that he said he's going to retire after the season. So I hope he can knock out United and we can get him in the final of the Europa League. What do you guys think, though? Do you guys think he can knock out United?
I can imagine he would want to do it the same way he would want to beat.
That's it.
He won't play, man. He's Zlatan.
Bro.
Next one.
He's not playing.
Sorry. So there's all the 11 players. I'm sure there's more, but this is the major ones, though. If you look at that squad.
You mean Messi and Ronaldo on the same team?
Yeah, this is when. Imagine we had these players at Arsenal at our starting 11. Jeez. I mean, this would have been. But I will tell you one thing. Real Madrid had squads with a lot of world-class players, but it doesn't mean you would have won trophies anyway. But if we had the squad, with Wenger at that time, Wenger was... Wolf.
I think if we analyze the Arsenal after the invincible season, there was one player that we needed. We needed a leader after we lost Kona Toure and the what's his name, Sol Campbell. We were always scoring. We were always scoring goals, but we were conceding many goals. And if the one player from this 11 that I have a choice and I would have brought back then would be Vincent Kompany. He's a leader, and that is what we needed in our backline. We needed a guy that would lead from behind, and he's shown what he could do in England. He's a legend at City. He's won titles. He's just a leader, and that's exactly what we were missing since we lost Campbell and Toure.
So, if we see that you asking that question, I think it's a good question I can ask the guys here. If there's one player you would choose in this team here for the current Arsenal team, who would you pick? I'll give it two. I'll give it two players. Ashraf, you can go ahead first.
Sorry, I lost you there. Can you just repeat it, Nige?
If the squad here that you see on the screen, if you would pick two players and put in this current squad, who would you pick?
You're in the current squad. Are you talking current form, or are you talking the players judged on the
Pick
career?
two players from this team on the screen and put it. Who would you choose from this two?
Imagine
That our
them at
team,
their best.
at the
Imagine
best,
them
what
at
our
their
team
best.
needs. I would say
Yeah.
Vincent Company, obvious for leadership qualities that we totally lack. Somebody that can guide the team, somebody that can grab someone by his neck, someone that can lead from the front. Yeah. With the others is obvious choices, man. Ronaldo's, Messi's. But okay, we're now looking at gunning us to the title, gunning us to Champions League. Then I go with Company and CR7. The winning mentality is ingrained in them, and it rubs off on the players around them. So that would be my choices.
Morgan.
I'm gonna go with Company and Toure. I think they were just I think for now a strong a strong defender, someone there at the back, a strong personality, and we've had that struggle for I don't know how many years now. The Ronaldos and the Zlatans and the Messis and the Suarez speak for themselves, but they would be. I think they would be lost and wouldn't stay. I think if you look at players who can create a team and have a team built around them, I would go for those two.
PVL. Bevan is thinking, eh?
He's gonna go for Messi and Suarez, I'm sure.
No, easy. Company and Messi. That's all I want.
Yeah.
A proper defender and a liquor attacker, because Lord knows we need it.
So you
it for
would
me,
rather
Company and Messi.
Messi over CR7, Bevan?
CR7 can go sleep. I don't need him. We don't need that brass mentality. We soft here, bro. We need to run it into the net. That's our style.
Nigel, you asked a guy the question, he gave the answer. Los nou vir CR7 uit asseblief.
Yeah, los af asseblief. Los af. I want Company and I want Messi. Movie. Come
Look, I would choose. Look, I think our defense is okay for now. I don't need any defenders.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it was a problem with scoring. It was consistent. I would choose obviously CR7, and I would choose Suarez, because I mean that is two players that hey, a biter and a kicker.
I'm surprised.
A fighter and a kicker.
Liquor.
So we're gonna discuss something else. So we're gonna come away from Wenger's almost signed players, but we're gonna come now to the current team. So obviously there's a discussion: is Arteta the right guy? Is he not? But that's gonna be another discussion on its own. We will have a show where we're gonna have a discussion about Arteta alone and what he can do to improve the team and what players you guys think he needs. But I'm going to ask this question. Who do you think is the best defensive pairing right now with Arsenal? I'm going to bring, obviously, 4 players. Centre-backs. I'm going to start with Bevan. Who do you think is better? Is it Aldi and Mari? Or is it Luis and Brazilian here?
And Mari were solid. I enjoyed it when they were playing together. But if you're going to talk about current form, current injuries, all that kind of stuff, then you got to take that into consideration. So I like Mari. I would like to see. I know even nobody wants to talk about Mari and Gabriel together because apparently they're both left-footed, which is apparently a problem. I don't think so. I would want to keep Mari and Holding.
Okay.
That's
Morgan.
that's the two.
Yeah, I must admit, of the two players, they seem the most consistent. Gabriel, I haven't seen enough of him. He hasn't played consistently consecutive games enough for me to judge him yet. He looks
But-
like he could be a solid player, but yeah, I'm not yet convinced. I haven't seen what others have seen, and so just for safety, Holding and Mari seem to have, they seem to work
But
for now.
how much games has Mari even played?
Yeah, also a problem. But
You know what I mean? I can't as if you're looking at when you Mari has even played 3 games in a row for us yet ever.
Yeah, he played
I don't know.
about. Yes, he did. When he came back, when we were struggling
Played a
after
lot.
8
Yeah,
games.
he was
When
around.
was
Yeah,
he
he did
struggling?
it.
Yeah, no,
Is
no, he was. He
Gabriel
was one.
played-
But he's played about
He
5
played about
Premier League
10
10
games.
games.
Yeah,
Nah,
consecutive
man.
Gabriel
games.
played 3 games in a row. As Gabriel,
Gabriel
had
played
3
about 10 games in
consecutive
a row, I'm sure.
Gabriel,
Is
there was
it?
a time the beginning
Yeah,
of
he
the
played at
season
the beginning of
we,
the season.
Okay,
that's
Yeah.
why I
Outstanding.
would actually go with Gabriel and Holding. Gabriel just needs to play again that 2-3 games in a row as all. Because the nice thing about Gabriel, he's learning, he's strong, he's fast. He suits the EPL. All he needs is just at 3-4 games in a row, not get sent off. Because there was a time where he was playing and then he got sent off, I think, with a 3-game ban. And he got injured. But I mean, out of all, Holding is extremely calm. He's reliable. That's what I like about him. And Gabriel,
good in the air.
yeah, excellent in the air, wins a lot, lots of headers. Well done there. And then Gabriel, Mari, I need to see more of him consistently. Because also remember the games that they're playing, as Nigel also likes to point out, you play who's in front of you. But I mean, you also can't judge if somebody's only played 3 games in a row and they've played
Yeah.
Leeds and whoever. So for me,
Okay.
I'll cut it off there. I'll go with Gabriel and Holding.
Holding's a bit suspect. I see Ashraf laughing there. But look, I've watched Holding. He tends to be very suspect when playing out from the back. His distribution is poor. One-on-one situations, poor. He's good. He is good in the air. He's got that aggression and stuff, but it's just not good enough for me to be starting games. I still believe Gabriel and Saliba is the future for Arsenal. At the moment, I will choose the experience of David Luiz and Mari. I've actually been very impressed with Mari. His reading of the game has been well. His distribution is good. He's cool under pressure. He handled Jamie Vardy quite well. And David Luiz seems to be the right fit for him. David Luiz brings another dimension to our defense, where he's always pinging the balls over our midfield. It's an option. It's seen as an option B for Aubameyang to run onto balls. So yeah, David Luiz and Mari.
Guys, sorry to butt in there. Mari's played 4 EPL games. He's played against Chelsea 90 minutes, Brighton 90 minutes. Then there was a gap of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then he's played the last 2 games. So Mari's only played 4 league games for us this whole season.
But are you saying 4
He
full
was
games? But
consistent.
What was
but he
what
has-
was the
but he
results
has
in those
come on
games?
as substitute. He has come on for shorter periods, hasn't he?
He's played 5 90 minutes. Sorry.
The 5 90-minute games. Can you give us the results?
Chelsea, we beat 3-1.
Results?
Chelsea, we beat 3-1. Brighton, we beat 1-0. That's totally expected.
Yeah.
West Brom, we beat 4-0.
Don't come with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Carry
that's
on.
three games.
Carry on.
That 3 games he played in a row. Then I don't know what happened. I think he became injured.
It's injured.
And then he played Man City. We lost. And then we played Leicester. So he's played 5 games. We've won 4. But for me, I don't feel he's played enough in a row.
Not injured, we would have been fine. He's more than capable of playing. He's confident on the ball. He's a quality player.
All the games he played.
But I don't think we have a long enough. My personal opinion, I don't have a long enough to judge him, to gauge him, just to say that he is the solution. You know what I mean? I agree with what you say. I mean, look at the results: 4 wins and 1 loss. You play who's in front of you. But I want him to play 5 games in a row, 8 games. You know what I mean? I just want to see what he's made of, not breaking down. The first game he played an excellent game against West Ham. He was out for 6 months. So I can't say that someone is the answer if it's just another Diaby in disguise.
I think also need to change the menu there, because I think they still have Wenger's lentil soup menu there. I remember when Wenger came.
Well, the same physio. Probably the same physio was still there.
Yeah,
They must get that lady of Chelsea that got Mourinho fired.
Oh, let's not talk about that. So here's the next one, guys. I don't want to even go.
This is an easy one. This should be an easy one. I think Morgan, this should be an easy one for you.
Bevan,
are you asking us who looks better in their t-shirts, or you talking about the game here?
Or the shorts. Bellerin definitely looks better in that shorts.
And he tucks in his jersey.
I want to hear what Bevan has to say. Bevan.
No, man, don't waste my time with such comparisons, man. Please. I think I know. Please.
I think I know which way the winds are blowing. So yeah, it's just that
I'm not even gonna say who I'm gonna pick over this, because it's most obvious, man. The one that doesn't foul throw, I'll take that one. The one that doesn't foul throw, I'll take that. I'll take that. That's my answer. The one that does not commit foul throws will be the one that I will choose.
I think Cedric is the calmer of the two people and the better defender at this stage, for sure, yeah.
And I like Cedric's aggression going forward. He's got a nice aggression for me going forward. You know what I mean?
I can't understand why is he not starting every game.
You know why? Hector Bellerin is a confidence trickster. He is a fucking confidence trickster. He will present you with some form of ability that he can cross, that he can take on players, and that he can do something. Yeah. And then the very next game, he will fuck you over. So that is why don't bother with a guy like that. He's inconsistent. We need consistent players. Ashraf is saying he wants to see more of Mari in a row. I don't want to see more of Bellerin in a row, because Bellerin's cuck 3 times, 2 times in a row. Any time in a row is terrible.
All I'm saying, he was on the bench on Sunday, or was it Saturday? And so that is clearly going to play in the Europa League. He's clearly the first choice for the Europa League.
Now look, if he's gonna start again in the Europa League, sorry, I don't think Arsenal can progress. Because he's awful. I'm sorry, I don't care how long he's with the club, over 10 years. I think it's time for him to go. And he irritates me when I watch him play. Yeah, he can go to Barcelona because they're not even quiet anymore. You don't get even when last year Real Madrid and Barcelona being that teams. You don't hear of them anymore. It's not the same. Messi wants to leave the club. Benzema's doing this. Where's that teams? So he can go to Barcelona. I don't care. I just want him out.
Cedric needs a fair chance at right back, at least 4 to 5 games.
I think he's going to become that. I think it's inevitable that he's going to become that.
on the other hand, Arteta has his favourites, William and
Okay, so last
Hector.
before we end, the last question before, do you think he's the solution for our right back, Solis?
For the time
Do you
being,
think we
yes.
found that player?
For this season.
I guess like you guys are heartless. We'll use you for a season and then until we get something better, and then we'll kick you out.
Yes, okay.
But remember, Bellerin has always been a favourite among whatever coaches come in. So I don't know what's he doing, if he's giving them free Louis Vuitton bags or fucking free.
He plants a tree in your name.
Free trees,
Remember
He's
that
an environmental
for
guy,
every
man.
win. A tree for every win, and then we couldn't buy a win.
Okay, guys.
Ja,
that was-
but there is a
guys,
moer.
Practice, bro.
Wonderful chat, guys, about Arsenal and the past and now obviously the current team. But what we normally do on this show, we normally promote small businesses. Okay, so Ashraf, I know you would like this. Ottoman. Here's this guy making.
Oh, I saw
this
that guy on
beautiful-
Facebook. I saw it on Facebook.
I saw this here. I saw this stuff.
Nee, ik heb die flyer gemaakt. Ik heb die flyer gemaakt.
But why is the guy, why can't the guy make an Arsenal Ottoman? You can
Exactly.
put an
I'm sure
Arsenal
he's
Ottoman
saying-
and put a photo. I mean, what's up here?
No,
I don't want to buy about this guy again. Come on, man.
no, he makes all teams. He can just be a team.
He needs to make Arsenal and post it.
Arsenal.
I'm gonna do me a screen capture. Wait, I'll just take a screen capture.
I'll send you the flyer. I'll send you the
Okay,
flyer.
because I need the thermometer for my film. I need to make sure that I
I
follow
thought you want
protocol.
the Ottoman.
No, I need. Can I my thermometer brand like an
I
Arsenal
see his,
thermometer?
I see his prices here. Is the Ottoman's 99 rand?
Yeah, you well
man.
paid.
Okay, covered.
Yeah.
Is
Okay,
it
the next one.
I need to know weight. I need to know what kind of weight can it handle. How much
You
weight
can
can that
contact him. I'll
Ottoman
send you the
handle?
flyer. I'll send you the flyer. Okay, so if you need any logos for your business, if you make t-shirts,
Yes,
Bevan, the guy that makes caps, if you need some logo, tags and that stuff, this KDLW is the right place for you. Viewers, you can also, if you want this flyers or these people's numbers, you can always contact me. I'll send it to you. We have a next one, even Steve. If you need a haircut, if you don't have money, a hoofie, they can
You
up
can
your
lay by.
cost.
Or can you lay by your haircut?
Yeah.
I need my
You
beer
get-
terms. I don't see beer terms there. Can Eve Steve for my help?
They
Yeah,
do
you
flat
can-
iron beer trims. They do flat iron beer
That's
trims.
probably going to be 450.
Yeah, Morgan, I think your whole thing's gonna be 1,000 rand, but you can
Oh,
pay
yeah. Lay by
you
it.
can
You
pay
can lay by
the
it.
Die hare was 'n jaar lank gesny so.
Yeah, here we go. Here's some massages. I see Bevan left. Hy seker honger, maar ons gaan nie nog vra nie. There's Bloom Skin and Beauty if you guys need a massage. And there's also, I think this next one, A&R Projects is probably renovating. You guys can check there. Guys, here's a five-a-side place here. This is our buddy Lyle Peters used to play overseas as well. He runs this place. It's called, this is Straventon. In Straventon, it's called, yeah, I just forgot now the name of the. Anyway, you can contact this guy here. You can contact me. I'll give you the number. So, guys, thank you very much. It's been a long
Forward those
show.
flyers, please.
But if you talk Arsenal, you have to sit probably 3 hours. But thank you
And
very
Pep,
much, guys.
I see Man City's team is out. Pep is just fucking with a man's FPL team again. Yar. Sorry for my language.
Are you going to end off by playing the Arsene Wenger song or what? Come on, Nigel.
Oh, yeah.
No.
You gotta play it, man. Come on.
One
I
Arsene
still like
Wenger.
to see
That's my number. One
Come on,
Arsene
sing it. Come on,
Wenger.
Arsene Wenger.
One Arsene Wenger. There's only one Arsene Wenger. One Arsene Wenger. There's only one Arsene Wenger. One Arsene. Oh yes, my child is sleeping. Nigel, fuck you, man. The light of
Okay,
school
guys,
tomorrow.
Guys, those who was watching, please subscribe to our channel and also live club platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and also our Facebook page. Thank you very much, guys. Morgan, Ashraf, Wolfie, Bevan, don't worry, Arsenal's gonna get there. Soos hulle sê altyd, as ons 'n season next year.
Woo!
Amen.
We're winning the Europa, bro. I'm confident Europa League is ours.
Ashraf, you speak there. You speak
Ashraf,
truth to power.
Let's just organize this. If we come to Europa League final, we're watching it by you.
Yes. I was a Hebrew. I must just top up the
Here we
bar
go.
here.
Free beers for everyone. There we go.
Oh yeah.
I have the shooter glasses.
Don't speak so loud because Ramaphosa might have a lockdown and cut the
Kijk uit
alcohol.
klein koppies, man. Kijk uit klein koppies. Guys, for shots.
Anyway, thank you very much,
Kijk
guys.
jy die bierglasie?
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Guys, thank you, Nigel, for hosting us.